like to just step inside here a minute now, where it's warm. We'll give you a chance to stand up too. If you'll stand up and kind of face the south, that'll be towards the post office, and a lot of you don't know where the post office is. Why, they'll be raising the flag and playing the national anthem. Thank you. Thank you. If you'll just remain standing for a minute. The trumpeters were from the American Cleghorn Consolidated School, and their instructor is Jerry Branstead is their instructor, and the color guard up there would be C. Adrian Olson, post number 486 of Cleghorn. At this time, if you'll remain standing, we'll have the invocation by Jerry Albright. He's minister of the Cleghorn Christian Church.
Will you bow with me before God? Gracious Father, God of the centuries, we thank you for this community that we call Cleghorn. We thank you for all that it has come to mean to us, and we hold in reverence those who have built it, our fathers and mothers, and their parents before them, our brothers and sisters and our friends. Dear Lord, we hold them all reverently in our hearts tonight as we continue to praise you for all the accomplishments of the past 100 years. But as we come to you and turn back the clock of time in our minds, help us to be mindful that you are with us now and into the future, that 100 years is but a beginning in your eyes, and that we have a purpose and a place today and in the future. Bless us now as we begin our celebration. Be with us as we renew friendships and families, as we renew our associations with those throughout the days. For we ask it in Jesus' holy name. Amen.
Thank you. Now you can rest. The proclamation of our centennial will be given by Arnold Dobson. I remember him as a local blacksmith. I don't know what he does now.
Whereas Dr. Cleghorn did donate land for the new village to be established after the railroad siding was built in 1889, he did plat the town in April of 1890 to be called Cleghorn after the donor. Whereas on August 29, 1900, over 25 qualified electors petitioned for incorporation in the village of Cleghorn by special election. I wasn't there at that time. Articles of incorporation for the village of Cleghorn were filed for the record on February 4, 1901. Whereas, in order that the citizens of Cleghorn community can celebrate the town's 100th birthday and be proud of its heritage, now therefore I, Arnold Dobson, representative of the town of Cleghorn, Cherokee County, Iowa, do hereby proclaim 1990 as the centennial year of Cleghorn, Iowa. I also proclaim the dates of June 29th, 30th, and July 1st for celebration.
Lauren Anderson will be giving our welcome this evening.
Fellow graduates of Cleghorn, citizens and friends, just think, Cleghorn is 100 years old. Is there anyone here that recalls the birth of Cleghorn? As a representative of the class of 1931, I would welcome you. This is a time when you get reacquainted with old friends. It's also a time of remembrance of bygone days. Remember when? I'm going to bring out a few remember whens. When I started school in Cleghorn, the school was new. I recall when the county basketball tournament was held in Cleghorn. I think that's the only one that was held there. The players on that Cleghorn team, and I think some of the older people here might remember them, they were Merrill Goodrich, Farrell Wilkinson, Lyle Townsend, Franklin Davis, Lyle Gown. I remember when the day after Halloween, when we'd come up to school in the bus, we would find Dan Springer's cows and Rufus Booth's mules in a pen on Main Street. Wirt and Lycett Lumber Company furnished the gates. And remember the great elections we used to have in Cleghorn? Tony Schaefer and Johnny Smith? The people of Cleghorn were quite citizens that were kind to them. They changed around once in a while. And remember the great Cleghorn State Bank robbery? I do. Fred Dukeman and I were there. And do you know, too, folks, here's a town that's 100 years old, and you will still soon have a bank that's going to be 100 years old. So that's not far off, and I think it's something to be commendable that a town that's been our size has had a bank all these years. I could go on and on about Cleghorn, but time is of the essence. I thank you and enjoy the celebration because the next one is not till 2090. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. Next, we'll have a little talk by our county supervisor, Jack Forsman.
Thank you, Jim. I didn't want to do this, but they said they were going to have politicians talk, and they said they were going to start at the bottom. So you got me. So the top of them is over there. You'll see that. But I would like to say thanks, people, for coming. I asked Bruce the other day, I said, Bruce, what are we going to do if nobody comes? And he says, well, we're going to have lots of things to eat and a lot of bills to pay. So we're glad that you're here. But nevertheless, I have been in the community, not as long as our previous speaker here, but I'd say about 40 years going through school here. And I've been real proud of everything that went on here, and I'm real proud of all the people that turned out to help put this together, and you people that came. And we hope that the next 40 years goes as quick and we all come back again when we can. We're going to have a time capsule. I hope some of you come back when we open that. We haven't decided how many years, but some people have said maybe 5 would be soon enough if we're going to be able to see what's in it. But nevertheless, we are going to have that. But anyway, thanks for coming, folks, and we really enjoyed you here.
I sure hope that crew that moved all those chairs and tables shows up about Monday morning. I'll bet they don't. Next, we'd like to have Tom Miller, State Representative from Cherokee Island.
Actually, Jack knows very well that I'm in the bottom of the barrel with him also. When we look back during a Centennial celebration, we tend to be nostalgic, and we think in terms of the great promise held in the hearts of the settlers. In contrast to what we see as a mundane present-day life, in our mind's eye, we envision the 19th century stalwarts as striving to make the world a better place for those to follow and we secretly envy them the romance we are sure that they felt. In many ways, our mental picture of Cleghorn in 1890 probably is accurate, because those who were here in the beginning were activating the community plat planned by the Reverend Dr. Adam Cleghorn. After all, the weekly Cherokee Times had predicted that Cleghorn was to be a charming village with wide streets and a central park. But in reality, some of the striving by the stalwarts had to do with heavy snows that isolated the community for up to 6 weeks at a time and made it necessary for inhabitants to wield snow shovels to clear paths so coal and flour and needed supplies could be brought in from the outside world. And in reality, some of the romance had to do with raging prairie fires, blistering, unrelenting summer heat that withered the crops, drought, grasshopper plagues, and the uncertainty of the fortunes of agriculture. But despite many difficulties, those who lived in the Cleghorn area persevered. We know that they did because we are here to commemorate and celebrate a century of community existence. However, most surely, 100 times and more over the past century, there were those who looked into the future and saw only bleakness and failure. Really, nothing has changed. Today, you can find those who express apprehension and doubt about the years to come. As always, though, however, they're in the minority. Most of those who live in this area are positive in their outlook, and they have good reasons for their uplifting attitude. They have just experienced and survived a crippling depression, and yet life continues to hold promise. Yes, there have been many changes, and not all of them for the good, and more are sure to occur. But change also presents opportunities. And those of us who live in this rural area would be well advised to convert the opportunities into a better life for those who choose to continue living here. We have much to be thankful for, and I hope that in the year 2090, those in the Cleghorn area pause, look back to 1990, and yearn nostalgically for the courage to face the unknown future with the same stalwart outlook and the same aura of romance that we express today. If the ingenuity demonstrated in planning and conducting a Centennial celebration is any indication, Cleghorn has many good years to come. So here's to the future. Let's work to make it better than the past. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom. Is Fred Grandy here? Fred isn't here yet. Okay. We'll pass that page. Something about Dr. Adams Cleghorn. Dr. Adams Cleghorn was born January 11th, 1813 in Liberton near Edinburgh, Scotland. He came to the United States with his family in 1828. He became a Baptist minister in 1869, having received his degree of Doctor of Divinity from what is now Colgate University. His first pastorate was at Niagara Falls, Canada, and he served in the Civil War. He married Kenneth Stone in New York. They had 2 daughters and 1 son. In 1872, he bought a large tract of land in Cherokee County after he intervened to farmers to get a railroad station between Hazard and Marcus. He founded a new town on a tract of his land. It was plotted in the spring of 1890 and appropriately named Cleghorn. Dr. Cleghorn donated land to any denomination wishing to build a church and to the school. He then established a city park in the center of town in which he planted many trees and encouraged the residents to do the same on their property. Dr. Cleghorn died in December 1904 and was buried in Belleville, New York, beside his wife, who died in 1896. And we have quite an honor here tonight. We have Dr. Cleghorn's great-great-granddaughter, Lucia Thatcher of Forest Hills, New York. She was raised in Colebrook, New Hampshire, and is a graduate of Brown University. She has spent her entire career in publishing in New York City. She is currently the Director of Marketing, General Book, McGraw and Hill Incorporated. Lucia Thatcher, would you come and give a little speech for us?
Thank you. The honor is entirely mine. It's such a pleasure to be here. I am here as one of the earliest arrivals, representing a number of descendants of Adams Cleghorn who will be here to join you in the celebration of your centennial. A number of us will be meeting each other for the first time, so it's also a family roots occasion for some of the descendants. At last count, there were 2 great-grandchildren, 3 great-great-grandchildren, and 3 great-great-great-grandchildren of Adams Cleghorn coming to this occasion. And it includes a cousin whom I have never met, a cousin of mine, whom I have never met, but she was, a number of years ago in Florida, the maternity roommate of a former boss of mine in New York. So it is indeed a very small world, and the reach of Cleghorn is very great. Although I now live in New York, I grew up in a small town in northern New Hampshire, so I have the kinship of growing up in a small, intimate community to share with you, as well as the friendliness and warmth that we've seen from those of you we've met so far. I noticed there are a number of pronunciations of Cleghorn. There's a story in the family of great-grandmother Cleghorn arriving here on the train at one time, and the conductor coming through saying, "Cleghorn, Cleghorn," and she apparently drew herself up and said, "It's Cleghorn." Well, whether it's Cleghorn or Cleghorn, we really are very delighted to be here sharing this occasion with you, and we look forward to meeting you in the course of the weekend. Thank you very much for inviting us.
Thank you, Lucia. Thank you. We have some of her offspring here, relation to. If they'll stand, we have Barry Hendrickson. That's a great-great-grandson. He's from Atlanta, Georgia. Joan Henderson of Clearwater, Florida. Is she here? She'll be here later. She'll be here later. She is also the great-great-grandchild of Dr. Cleghorn. They will be coming. If they aren't here, they'll be here sometime this evening. They'll be probably a little later. At this time, we'll back up just a little bit, and Fred Grandy is here, and we'll give him a warm welcome, too.
Thank you. I want to tell you up front, I am not related to the Cleghorn family. No point in trying to tie into that. But there is one connection that I can make. Today is your birthday. Today is also my birthday. Now, no. I'm not 100, of course. I'm only 87. But this is a time of the year when towns the size of Cleghorn today and Struble tomorrow is celebrating their centennial turn out and people come home and remember what it was like to grow up in a town like this. And you can always spot the politicians at these things because we're the ones that dress up and look like politicians, and you're the ones that come here and have a good time. But I must say that it's worth it for me to dress up and salute a town that has been around here in this part of the world for 100 years, because you got where you did because of this community and the people that pulled together and stayed here, and the ones that left and came back. And people like Tom Miller and myself come and go, and we try and help you when we can in Des Moines and Washington, and write a farm bill that helps, or a rural development bill that helps, or a property tax bill that doesn't hurt you too much. But it's you that keeps these towns on the map. It's you that keeps this town alive and viable, and I just hope that I look as good at 100 as you do. And I wish you a very, very happy birthday and success for the next 100 years of Cleghorn. Thank you.
Someone kind of warned us in advance that it was your birthday. Happy birthday, Fred.
Thank you.
We'd like to have you open that.
It's clearly not a check.
No.
Everybody see this? These are the Cleghorn Centennial belt buckles. These are fabulous. Thank you, folks. 1942. Which one is that? They were all struck in 1942?
Right, you got them all.
Well, this is great. Thank you so much. This will go right into my Washington office. I'll have to put aside my little pin from Mobile, but you understand how that is. Thank you very much. Happy birthday.
Thank you. At this time, we'd like to present our royalty, our little king and queen, Joel Iverson, be the son of Craig and Lynn Iverson of Cleghorn, and Cindy Mogeson, not Cindy Mogeson. What's your first name? Christine Mogeson, daughter of Cindy and Delmer Mogeson. Would you stand up? That's our little king and queen. And our honorary king and queen are George Gacci and Verda Ellers. I have two things here they dug up. I shouldn't say dug up, should I? Verda began her teaching career in 1925. She took off to raise her daughter Sharon and began teaching again in 1962 and taught for the next 10 years in the Meriden building. She has been an adult Bible school teacher in the Presbyterian Church since 1945 and continues to this day. I think that's pretty nice. George Gacci came here to Cleghorn in 1912, where he farmed the Swanson place northwest of Cleghorn, if you know where that is. I don't. He began working at the Cleghorn elevator in 1941, where he was employed for 35 years, retiring in 1975. George is the father of 6 children: Arlene, George Jr., Dolores, Shirley, and Anita. Are they all here? The kids all here? Why don't they stand up? Stand up. That's a pretty great honor, George. At this time, we'll be closing with our benediction. It will be by Father Eugene Sitzman of the Mary Hill Visitation Church. Father Sitzman has been there for 25 years. 20 years. I'm stretching a little bit, Father. Just seems like 25 years.
If you'll, ooh, that's alive. If you'll reflect with me, please. God of our fathers, we pause at this moment in time to reflect in thanksgiving. As we look to the road ahead for ourselves and our loved ones, as any good driver, we also look in the rear view mirror of history occasionally to keep our bearings and assess our movements in the here and now. Fatherly guide, may we always value our proud history, which rises up before us in this centennial glance. This evening, we raise to you our humble thanksgivings, earnest strivings, simple joys, shared love and compassion, our sense of joy in the bonds of community. May our stewardship of your many good gifts hold together the heritage received, that we, in turn, may pass your blessings and disciplined freedoms to the years and the lives yet to be lived. Lord of all, even on Caesar's coin, imprinted by our founding fathers, we are reminded, in God we trust. Bless this centennial event, Lord of celebrations. Bless all who have worked so hard to raise these memories for our sharing. Bless each and all of us in this moment of peace-filled reflection and righteous community pride. Indeed, Lord, in you we trust.
We got one more thing before you all break up here. I think I'm going to do this a little different than they planned. I'm going to have them come up here and introduce themselves and tell who they are. But Adam Cleghorn's great-great-grandchildren just arrived. So if they just step up here and tell who they are and where they live and whatever they want to say. I thought maybe you'd want to see them up close anyway.
I'm Gertrude Staniels from Englewood, Florida. I'm Adeline Lewis Barr from Boulder, Colorado. I'm a great-granddaughter, and so was Gertrude of Dr. Adams.
I'm Virginia Fraser from Washington, D.C. I'm a great-great-granddaughter. Is that right?
I'm Joan Henderson from Clearwater, Florida. I'm a great-great-granddaughter, and somewhere out there is David Henderson, who is a great-great-great-grandson.
David, would you stand up? Are you here? Is David here in the crowd? Not yet. He must be in. Is it? Oh, no. No. That concludes our program. I hope you have a wonderful centennial, and I plan to, and we'll meet you all later. Thank you.
Class woman of the Western Prairie. These dresses were cotton and serviceable, and were made up in all colors and prints. It features a round neck circled by a ruffle, puffy sleeves, and a very full skirt with a gathered flounce at the bottom.
Stripes and more stripes, and these gold, red, and black. The skirts are made fuller by the wide flounce and horizontal stripes. The leg and mutton sleeves are set off by the tight wristlets. A satin cummerbund nips in the waist. The bow in the back adds a touch of glamour. Elastic waistband allows this dress to be worn for several sizes. Irma Gorge and Albina Johnson are our models tonight.
Here we have Dwayne Axlinger and Marlene Perkins. A dainty two-piece dress of blue check is what Marlene has on tonight. The bodice is trimmed in white eyelet lace. The full skirt, ending in scallops, allows just a peek at the embroidered white eyelet underskirt.
This is her Annie Oakley costume, being modeled by Opal Ruff, and she is escorted tonight by Charlie Brown. The black water cotton print skirt has sharp gored inserts for added fullness, trimmed in black silk fringe. The western style of the fringe yoke is repeated in the fringe yoke. A lot of these people tonight are modeling more than one outfit. We may have a few intermittent pauses here until they get their next costume on. One of the things we need to announce tonight, and that is that the quartet tonight, one member is sick and will not be performing. So they've been hit with the flu like a lot of our homes have as well. So hopefully we'll see them perform at a later time in one of our Centennial celebrations. Still no hope from the biggest yet.
The flounce has been exchanged for a narrow ruffle across the front and up the back to give a large bustle effect. The contrast in color is striking. This style comes in a variety of colors. Another variation of the prairie dress is worn by Carrie Barrett. This peach dotted dress is graced with feminine sleeve ruffles.
Connects the lacy white blouse she's wearing under that. Her escort tonight is Brett Russell.
Next up we have Shirley Coonsweiler and Rita Donaldson, and they're wearing a gingham check that comes in many colors, and the generous fullness in the skirt is topped by a flattering peplum. Notice the peplum. Double rows of darker rickrack add just enough contrast.
We have many skirts in solid, as the simple navy skirt being modeled tonight by Opal Rupp. We also have prints and flowered prints as well, worn by Marlene Perkins. They look like they're right off the prairie, don't they? Gym tonight. If you see one that you like on the men tonight, be sure you look. I think there's probably about 100 of them back there. So if you don't like the red print or the green print or the black print or the gold print, I'm sure she has one that you will be crazy about. So that is an option that you can select tonight. If you saw many of the garments hanging as you came in, these are all for rent. She charges an amount which is on there's a tag on each sleeve. She brings them 2 months before the Centennial, and you can have them and wear them and enjoy them. And once the Centennial is over, then they go back to artists. You don't have to put in the time of either making one or finding someone to make one or trying to hunt one down. This is an easy option for those of you who are interested in having a Centennial outfit without a lot of cost or a lot of hassle. So be sure you think about that tonight. Once the program is over, we will have people back there to assist you in selecting, and they're all by size, so it'll be very easy to do that.
A dainty green print is modeled by Carrie Barrett, escorted by Craig Iverson. Clooney lace is threaded with matching green ribbon in the V of the neckline. A matching flounce also trimmed in ribbon adds fullness to the skirt.
featuring lace-trimmed bib fronts. The skirts of tiered contrasting material are full-circle skirts. This style comes in contrasting prints of black, red, and blue or mauve. Thank you, gals. Navy skirt tonight. I think Oliver would look really good in that swimsuit. I like the red vest too, though, Oliver. I'm not sure which is my favorite. Kim is wearing the full circle navy skirt tonight. The skirt is trimmed in dainty white lace, and she's wearing a frilly white blouse with that. And again, her escort is Oliver Miller.
Prints, stripes, and checks combine in this saucy little dress modeled by Opal Rupp and escorted by Dwayne Knopfsinger. The bodice has lots of detail plus large patch pockets. The drawstring in the skirt can be lengthened or shortened to make a deeper dip in the skirt. Here we have Alvina Johnson, escorted by Charlotte Brown. She's wearing a pink gingham dress that has a full skirt and flounce. The deep peplum is flattering to the waistline. I'm supposed to ad-lib right now, and about the only thing I can think of is, I just want to announce Iowa State won this afternoon. They won by, I don't know, about 16 points. What else could I talk about here? I think I was behind. I haven't seen the TV or anything, but somebody told me they're behind. I don't know. It's a wild guess, but it's probably pretty close to the mark. Well, then Marie has a little more to talk about here. She wants to get in.
The gal that's kind of put a lot of this together for us, and this is Artist Armour, and she's from Smithville and owns the Centennial shop. So, Artist, if you'd like to make a few comments tonight?
I need to make a few comments because we're a little slow downstairs and they really don't want to have to stay out here and keep talking to you. I want to thank the Centennial Committee for having us. We'll be happy to work with your community in any way that we can. If you'll notice on the Centennial Shop brochure, the prices quoted to you there are for a 2-month period prior to your centennial. I'm sure that you'll have many events that you will want to wear your things so that you can use it to wear to church or any of the events that are coming up. I've had several people ask what sizes we have. Well, we really do have sizes from 2 to 52. And if you need it bigger than that, we'll special order. You're our first centennial that I'm working with 10 or 15 of them this year. That you are the first ones where you have the first chance at all the selections that we have to rent. However, what you see back on the racks is not our complete amount of things. We have more yet. Those of the people who helped me unload the car thought I had brought enough. I got that all in one car. Now, if you'd rather come down and give me a call and come to Smithville and pick out something, but be sure you call and make an appointment. I do have a full-time job otherwise, and so I'm not there unless you've made an appointment with me. Thank you again for having us, and I'll turn this back over to the narrator. Thank you.
Each morning found the Cleghorn school teacher, Ann Wilberding, walking to school. She was required to dress very conservatively in a dark suit and white blouse. The ringing of the school bell brought children from all directions toward the little red schoolhouse. Girls in long dresses and boys in shirts and dark pants and knickers, often held up by suspenders, were the rule of the day. Children, we will now call the roll. Dan and Pinto, Adam Joynes, Landon Peterson, Zachary Wilcox, Emily Eric, Christine Loganson, Kristen Iverson, and Lindsay Peterson. Okay, now we're going to play Ring Around the Rosie. go off to school. We had to get spoiled with our wash and wear. Thank you, kids. Made of silk crepe. She is being escorted tonight by Brad Carlson. The bottom is trimmed with dainty ribbon embroidery, and the skirt includes a silk slip. Isn't that very elegant looking? Thank you.
Our high school is privileged to have a group of girls known as the High Steppers. Tonight, 6 of them from Cleghorn will entertain us. If you like what you see, you'll want to attend the High Steppers Drill Team Night, March 20th. Boy, pretty good view up here, people. And they're nice dresses too. I want you people, if there's anything up here that interests you, we'd like you to know that these are also part of Miss Armour's collection. So start a line back over here so we can keep this orderly when you decide you want these. We'd like to thank Susan Ott, Amy Cohn, Wendy Brown, Jody Eric, Lynn Rupp, and Don Henke for what they've done for us tonight. Thank you.
This does does conclude our program for tonight. We hope you enjoyed seeing the fashions. There's lots of different kinds if you want to go very casual or very dressy. This shop has just what you need. Again, there will be people in the back of the gym here helping you make your selections. If you go to Smithland and you want to look to see if you have something else in the shop, there is a sign. I went through it the other day. There's a big sign on the south end of Smithland that says Centennial shop that you can't hardly miss. So you can check that out as well. Bruce, did you want to say something tonight? Fran, where are you? Behind the stage, right. Okay, the chairman of our Centennial this year is Bruce Mackey, and of course he always wants to say a few words, and we'll try to limit him to that. Bruce?
Well, you know that I'm a person of few words. I think our Marilyn Prunty and our committee for the style show deserve a big hand. Done a fine job, Marilyn and your committee. I think this is going to be indicative of what's going to be going on at our Centennial. I can be honest, I don't think that I've done all that much work myself. I went out and found these people to do all this organizing, and when you get a little bit involved, you realize how much work is involved. We've got a committee chair head and a committee for about everything, and that's who I'm depending on. And I have a lot of confidence because we have good, very responsible people in all these committees. There seems to be one committee that gets involved all the time, and that's our food committee. And don't realize it, that almost every fundraiser we have, our food committee gets involved. And in case there's not another chance to give them a hand, I want to give them a hand tonight too. We've had a good show tonight. The one thing I was a little concerned about was we had a lot of lag time and we seemed to get along pretty good talking with each other. I suggested to Pastor Ann Rouse that maybe we can take care of our Centennial sermon here in this half-hour time, and she didn't think that was such a good idea. But I wasn't serious about that. Again, committee, thank you very much. And our Centennial is going to be a good Centennial, and our plans are pretty much all together, except for the small things, and we'll get those together. Thank you again. Thank you for coming.
Okay, these young people that have been sitting on the stage for probably, 45 minutes already in anxious anticipation of who is going to be the Centennial, Little King, and Little Queen. And so without any further time, we're going to introduce Nancy Birch, and she's been working on this. So Nancy, you ready to get the lucky winners?
Well, I'm here, but I don't have a final count. They're still doing that. But we have to introduce these little boys and girls who are so good to be a part of our Centennial. So I'd like to introduce them to you. The little boys. I'll introduce the little girls first. Ladies come before gentlemen. We have little Emily Eric. Stand up, Emily. Melinda Rouse. Leanne Peterson, Emily Dielacher, Beth Reeder, and Christy Wilkinson. And for the little boys, we have Bruce Rick, Benjamin Erdman, Luke Marshall, Jeff Peterson, and Joel Iverson. And I know they want a long sit because they're breathing big sighs. These little king and queen candidates are going to be riding in the Centennial Parade. And as long as we don't have a final count yet, I'd like the parents to know that we would like these little candidates to meet out here at the back door, the one that's right down off the stage, at 9:30 next Saturday morning. And I will take them to their two floats. Little Miss and Mr. Cleghorn will ride in one wagon, and all of the rest of the court will ride in the wagon behind them. And the moment we've been waiting for, our little Miss Cleghorn is Christy Mogensen. And our little Mr. Cleghorn is Joel Iverson. We congratulate Joel and Christy and their parents. And now as we go on to our older court, we are very honored to have as our king and queen candidates of the Centennial. To be king and queen, you had to be 85 years old, you had to be nominated, and you had to accept. Those of those that showed up tonight that are here to participate are Agnes McIntosh, Berta Ellers, George Gacci, and Bill Emke. And our Centennial Queen is Berta Ellers. And our Centennial King is George Gacci Jr. Our congratulations to George and Berta.
I don't know, I think it might need a stapler to keep that on George's head there. It's gonna start swelling up pretty quick, I think. At this time, this is what we've all been waiting for, and I'm sure wives as well as husbands, we're coming to the point where our beard judging head coordinator, who's out on patrol right now, this is where he starts to earn his pay. And Beth is going to handle this. There's been a little mix-up. I think I was number 25, and I was going to be in the sexiest category, but Herb Ralston come in late, and he was really distraught. And he really wanted to be in this beer judging contest, so I think he's going to be number 25, and he's going to be in the sexiest category. So if I'm not in it, I guess I hope Herb wins. Beth will take over from here. Does anybody else need a number? Did Did Jerry go back, sign up? Is he on that list?
Got a number, Jerry?
Jerry needs a number. He'll have to decide his own category. We won't do that for him. Also, there's been a little slip up here. Number 19, we thank you for entering, but we sure can't read your writing. So if you're number 19, tell us who you are so we can get you squared away here. So at this time, I'll bring on Beth Rupp, and she will conduct the activities in the beer judging contest.
Thank you. First of all, Howard and I would like to say how much we appreciate the wonderful cooperation that we have received from the gentlemen and their wives during this whole growing of beer season, I guess you might call it. We started this in January, and it's been fun for us. I hope it's been fun for everybody else too. As of tonight, we had 94 shaving permits sold. And we sold one more tonight to Steve Erdman, but we don't have the money yet. It's out in his van. Okay, also, I just have to mention that Howard made quite a few trips to Cleghorn in the last few months. And I know that there's quite a crowd that hangs around the Cargo Express. And I was starting to get a sneaking suspicion that they were putting out people to watch out for him. Because he finds so many gentlemen who were not wearing those buttons that he had sold them. And pretty soon they'll be safe. Okay, first of all, the gentlemen who are going to be in the beer contest, would you come over to this corner right now, please? And Marlene Perkins from Cleghorn.
by number, and I'll announce your name and your number. I asked them to write their ages down also, but I told them I wouldn't tell what they were. This was to verify who is the oldest girl in her 40s of years. First of all, I'm going to tell you, we'll start with the candidates. Number 1, Lawrence Goodrich. Face the judges so they can see you, and then move on. Number 2, Richard Dorr. Number 3, Francis Smith. Number 4, Leo French. Number 5, Rob French. Number 6, Royden Rupp. Number 7, Jack Forsley. Number 8, Neil Forbes. Number 9, Fred Johnston. Number 10, Dwayne Maxter. Number 11, George Hodgson. Number 12, Chet Stepp. Number 15, Floyd Rupp. Number 14, Dan Lundell. Number 15, James Wilcox. Number 16, Stanley Birch. Stanley, stay there for a minute. Stanley, Stanley. Okay. Number 17, Les Pedersen. Number 18, Reed Marshall. Number 19, Dennis Peck. Number 20, Dean Peterson. Number 21, Bruce Schmatke. Number 22, Eric Johnson. Number 23, Gerald Lundquist. Some of these gentlemen have more on their faces than on their heads. Number 24, Mike Rouse.
This is Herb Rawson coming up here.
Okay, number 25, Herb Rawson. Number 26, Bruce French. Number 27, Les Donaldson.
He's over there on the wall, by the balloons. He's got to come up here.
Hurry up. Drag him over here, Sarah. He's not that tough.
Richard Lundell is his friend if he wants to come along. Okay. Okay, Richard will be number 34. Number 28, Bill McIntosh. Do that. Number 29, Howard Rupp. Number 30, Jared Novak. Number 31, Bert Lundell. Gentleman with the beard, he's 87, so he's going to get a prize tonight. Number 32, Jake Bazoon. Number 33, Brad Carlson. Number 34, Lloyd Peterson. Okay, number 35 is Lloyd Peterson. And number 36, Delmer Bogerson. Do the judges want them to walk past again, or what would you like them to do? Line up in front here, please. And there's a $25 prize for that. The second one is the best trim, and that's a $25 prize. The third is the bushiest, $25. Best color, and Howard was going to color his beard red, but he didn't. $25. Scraggliest, $25. Oldest participant, $25. And best overall, $50. And then it can only take one prize each, so we're going to have 7 winners here tonight.
Give us a sampling of what's in store for later tonight by giving us a song.
Start spreading the news. Start spreading the news. I'm leaving today. New York, New York.
number 17, Les Pettison. And the newspaper gentleman has asked that the 7 winners please hang around because he'd like to take a picture for the newspaper, okay? Okay, the best trimmed, number 7, Jack Horseman. The bushiest, number 9, Fred Johnson. Mark says you can kiss Mike Knudsen if you want to. Okay, best color, number 22, Eric Johnson. This poor guy is going to feel really bad, and he probably will want to shave it off right away. The scraggliest, number 29, Howard Rupp. Of course, we know that the oldest participant is number 31, Bert Lundell. And I think this would have been a unanimous count if we would have taken votes at the door. Best overall, number 11, George Gotti. You think you're all winners, and we're really proud of you guys for doing this. Thank you so much for being such good sports. And the 7 winners, please hang around here.
I'd like to know how many wives are going to be glad when the Centennial is over and those men are free singing again. Yeah. If you'd like to thank all the people who participated in your judging contest, you look scraggly for 3 or 4 months, and so one more week of this and we'll be on to clean shaven summer, I guess.
Homage to the flag. Color guard from post 486 in Cleghorn. Quimby VFW, or Quimby American Legion, New Jersey VFW, the Korean American Legion, Lamar's American Legion, and the Laramie American Legion. American Legion Color Guard, American Legion Auxiliary Color Guard. Supposed to take the raising of the flag on Iwo Jima Island in 1945 and World War II. American Legion Color Guard and American Legion Auxiliary Color Guard of Ida Grove, Iowa. Frank Williams and Company. This is the Ida Grove Auxiliary and Color Guard. Up next, the Mayor of Cleghorn, Mr. Larry Patrick, driver Larry Dowson of Arizona. The TR6 convertible, Triumph Coast Guard, owned by Army. Up next, the Pontiac Catalina convertible. Centennial King and Queen, George Dr. Sr. and Berta Heller. George, he's in the next car. The Ford LGD convertible, owned by Kenny Lee, driven by Jeff Lundquist, George Dr. Sr. 1965 Lincoln Continental four-door convertible. Ken Lee, the driver. Sponsored by Bush Road and Cherokee. Corvette convertible.
Yeah.
1972 Cadillac Eldorado convertible, owned and driven by Dr. Tom and Jan Irwin. Up next, 1990 Classic Destiny Auto, 104 in the United States. Rich and Donna Hammond, descendants of the founder of Cleghorn, sponsored by Rich Hammond. Next, the Shetland Pony Kit and two-seated buggy. Regular Shetland pony, Chrissy and Ann are sisters, 10, 11 years old, 43 inches tall. Buggy was used by Doctor in Leeds from 1905 to 1915 to make house calls. Marlon House driving and James Mitchell, Pearson, Iowa. Little Miss Cleghorn, Chrissy Mogerson, Little Mr. Cleghorn, Joel Iverson. Sponsored by the 6th Cleghorn Centennial Committee and others. Up next, Belgian horses. Prairie Titan, pulled by a team of Belgian horses owned by Dale and Darlene Lux of Hartland. So under the Hartley Pressure Speed, August 3rd and 4th. We have members of the Price Race Harness Club. Lieutenant Governor Joanne Zimmerman. Rich driven by Dennis Green. Joanne Zimmerman. 1972 Cadillac Eldorado, owned by Frank and Jan Morton. State Representative Tom Miller and his wife, Jean. For his birthday and first anniversary, this is to Tom and Jean Schreiber, Jan. Cadillac convertible. CJ and Ellen Bartlett. Senator Vanderhoff riding there. Welcome, Senator. MCM Middle School Band, 6th and 7th and 8th grade. Band members from Marcus Mercy Cleghorn School District. The MCM Band program includes the concert band, jazz band, marching band, and step band. Don't forget to eat at the middle school gym, Marcus Mercy Cleghorn School District, and the MCM Music School District. E. John Deere tractor in 1942 by a 46 stretching machine. He bought the tractor in North Dakota in 1982 and a director in 1984 at Dedham, Iowa. From Jerry Tanner, originally retained from Charter Oak, Iowa. Larry Swanson on the tractor, and he's the owner. He directed most every year at the Albert City, Iowa Tractor Lynch and Tractor Show. This was a Cleghorn Fire Department. Our next resort, John Deere, 1949 B John Deere, driven by grandson Aaron Sokolowski. Sokolowski, okay. Sokolowski, we'll get it right. A 77 Oliver tractor pulling a two-wheel trailer that has on it machinery, tip-scale model made by Daniel Hahn. Owner of the tractor, Robert Hahn, served by Dan Hahn, accompanied by his son, Dustin. 1947 Buick Supper 8-cylinder convertible, owned and driven by Don Reed. Driver Innocent, a Republican candidate for Cherokee County Recorder, 1 year service in that office as deputy graduate of the American High School class of 1952. MMC High School, the MMC High Steppers, with Nancy Birch, the director, on their float. They do a great job. Hi, girls. Up next, the Nancy Auto Top Buggy. Buggy manufactured by the Lee Carriage Company at Moline, Illinois in the early 1900s. Lauren and Linda Lundquist, Cleghorn, Courtney Flanagan, and Ruth Essler, Columbia, New Jersey, Stephanie Lundquist, Cleghorn, riding beside them. Beautiful. Stanley Birch in the Ford Roadster, 1930 model, green Ford. Got gas in it, Stanley? Chris Hansen, Michael Hansen, Crystal Hopper, Stanley Birch. The Dixie Daddies Dixieland Band will be playing later on here. Recreational Dixieland and band running on our own resort, 1947 Ford Fire Engine. Jerry Lewis Susie on the trombone, Paul Sleazer with the drums, accordion John Grossman, fiddle Renee Grossman, tuba Alice Luftbacher, mobile, Dave Napier on the saxophone. Driver Rick Burwell, playing a concert in the Big Tent downtown starting at 1 p.m. today. 1926 Model T Roadster, owned and driven by Dale Taylor, with Kenny Gordon, the mayor of Meriden, as the passenger. 1935 John Deere tractor and 1920 Grand Tourer plow. Wayne Rupp, driving that one, was sponsored by the Rupp Oil Company. Parade wagon and team, black and white face team of points driven on a parade wagon with 43 mirrors. Done and stamped from Holstein, Iowa. Sponsored by Bruce Mackey. The Cleghorn State Bank float on back to the pickup. red, white, and blue float, the Cleghorn State Bank will be celebrating the bank's centennial year in 1992. The bank has been growing with the Cleghorn community since 1892 and is looking forward to another century of service. Driven by Jack Forsman, Cleghorn State Bank. Oh, that's Earl Green driving there. Antique car, 1931 Model A Ford, standard two-door sedan. Bob and Francis Compton. This car is like the one we started with almost 50 years ago. Looks real good. Lifeline ambulance from Sioux Valley Memorial Hospital in Cherokee. The 1988 Lifeline Type 3 modular ambulance. The most newest of the hospital ambulances. Equipped with a staff and an EMT level 1B of service. Deb Ross and Dave Dunn, both are EMT 1B. 1929 Midget Packard Russell T. Group, driven by Gunnar Rushman. The car was copied after a 1929 large Packard that will be following in this parade. It was built for the midgets that played in the Ringling Brothers circus. Here's the 1929 Model 640 Russell T. Group with gold bag compartment, driven by Gus Robbins with his wife Norma, passenger, also owned by Gunnar Rushman. Okay, we got a clown here with Miss Candy the Kids, the Neats Masters version, clown's name and clown around Key. Sponsored by yourself. 1951 Packard, Generosity. Driven by Willard Carlson with wife Elva and the passenger. Car was purchased new by Mrs. Mattoon in 1951 at Peterson. 1958 Packard four-door sedan with Studebaker motor V8. This car is the year Packard sold out Studebaker. Owned by Gunnar, served by Marguerite, offering. Sheldon Portmasters. Singing to their showtime September 29th from Sheldon, Iowa. Thanks, fellas. Cherokee Ridge Runners, 1862 Civil War. Cannon and Army Lodge. Members of the Ridge Runners. Russell Swayback, the driver, Dick Bennett and Squire Stanley, Judy and Richard Berkeley. Sponsored by the Ridge Runners. Here's the Antique Auto, 1958 DeSoto Firefly, driven by Frank Morton. This car was sold new in Cleghorn. Sponsored by the Gas House in Cherokee. This road John Deere P51 tractor, owner and driven by Robert Vaughn, accompanied by grandson Drew Vaughn. Cayman Wagon, Sorrel Ponies, and Blue Wagon, Russ Freeze, sponsored by the Marcus Vet Clinic. Coming up next, the Cherokee County Pork Producers. A great breakfast they helped on this morning. Little Miss Pigtail, Alicia Moen, John of Mr. and Mrs. Jim Moen. Runner-up Bethany Mortensen, daughter of Tom and Shelley Mortensen. Jim Olson, the driver. From Peterson, Iowa. Jack Wilson and Dick Wagon, owned by the Drumbucks from Peterson. Horse and Buggy Black Morgan Horse, Don and Betty Hines from Brookings, South Dakota. 9 years to make the trip down. Buggy built in the early 1900s. And here's some good old-time music for you. Polka band, Jim and Steve Smith Insurance sponsoring this. A 1990 Chevy pickup, courtesy of Betty Chevrolet. It's Jim, Steve Smith, Linda Smith, Jennifer Smith, and Chris Smith, driver of Rick Slinger. Smith Insurance is proud to represent Rescue Mutual Insurance, serving for Cleghorn since 1885. Roger Rock. 1955 Chevy convertible, beautiful car. And his Uncle Ivan riding along there. Oh, the Colorado Kids are calling, huh? I think the family clothes, blue and silver, featuring the original outhouse and decorated with hot pink flowers and balloons. Marjorie Carter, Cherokee, Francis Smith, Cleghorn, Betty Wyckoff, Mesa, Arizona, Irish Nunn, Steel Reach, California, Donald Smith, Bob Smith, Mary Lindell. The whole Smith clan. Antique truck sponsored by Wilson Seed Company, Harlan, Iowa. The Model T Ford 1920 truck truck. Don Schneider driving the truck. Betty, Dave, and Stephanie Hager riding on the truck. Hi, Betty. The flying carpet's up next. Truck includes a molded plywood passenger go-kart chassis, all handmade. All riders are members of the Jersey Club Club and the Other Vendors Crown Couple of the city. Captain of the flying project is Robert Luna. This rider owns this unit and is responsible for its upkeep. Sponsored by Langdon Olson. Looks like a lot of fun. Got a nice payload on the back. Next we've got 6 tractors. We have Alfred Steven driving a 630 John Deere, 1959 model. We have Alfred Steven driving a 1951 John Deere PC with plow. Jerry and Justin Allcliffe. The 110 Garden tractor, 1966. Kayla Allcliffe driving a 1968 John Deere pedal tractor. John Gilligan driving the 1947 Case tractor. And Harold Shearer with the 1947 JGC. That's a 42 unicycle? A 42 unicycle. Still right well. The 1916 Studebaker, 7-passenger touring car. Driver Dale Nate, Dorothy Nate, Vicki Erickson, Madonna, Caprice, Tanya, and Humphrey. The car was in Cleghorn's 75th anniversary parade. They're from Pearson, Iowa. 1931 Franklin air-cooled vehicle owned by Dale and Dorothy Nate. Once again, a Pearson, driven by Verlin and Shirley Nate and their niece Ashley O'Keefe. They're all from Kingsley. Sponsored by Nate Commodities, Kingsley, Iowa. Nice, beautiful. Horse and buggy. The buggy is approximately 90 years old and has been in the Nelson family for 70 years. Kenny Nelson from there. Buggy is pulled by Black Morgan Horse, named Thunder. Attention Cherokee Saddle Club, members of the club, and Cavaliers 4-H Club. Next, a Roadster pickup, engine number 69, 1931 Ford Roadster pickup, Dale Reardon, owner and driver, riding John Evans family. The Evans family is from Joliet, Illinois. Sponsored by Reardon Garage in Pearson. Number 7, we entered the car, 1931 Ford Deluxe Roadster with rumble seats. Gary Reardon, the driver. And the Evans family riding there. Sponsored once again by Reardon Garage. The Massey 44 tractor and flat rack, 1948 Massey Harris, the 6-cylinder engine, purchased new by Dale Ford. Dale and Gladys Ford, Ron, Lord, Marilyn, Kristen and Allison, Linda, Ed, Chrissy, Sarah, Jean, Jim, Jennifer, and Jamie Sharp. All the way from Boatown. Massey Harris 80 Special Self-Propelled Combine, the 1953 Massey Harris Gas Combine, original owner, Glenn Miller, Remsen, Iowa, now owned by Richard Dorr, Cleghorn. One of the early versions of self-propelled combine, this model would harvest 10 to 15 acres per day with operator at the mercy of Mother Nature. Door implement, none of this. The sponsor. And now the new version, this Massey purchased an 8450 self-propelled combine. It's a new 1990 model with a 6-row front end powered by Mercedes diesel engine. Mark Gordon and Chris and Tony Horton, this machine was able to harvest 10 pounds per day than the earlier ride, and all the while the operative rides on air-conditioned heat cab and watching computer on monitor, sponsored by Door Implement once again. Mobile hay wagon, 24 feet, for feeding round bales, tonnage, loose hay, etc., pulled by a JDB. Manufactured by Johnson Machine Shop, 24 feet feeding area, 42 feet opening. Sponsored once again by Johnson Machine Shop. The Alice Chalmers 1937 WC, driven by Jim Speck, rebuilt 1980, driven Johnson Machine Shop flat-train hat. 1938 Chevy Master Deluxe Coupe. This car is complete in all stock from factory. Color is gunmetal gray. Interior by French upholstery, driven by Holy Speck. It was rebuilt in 1989 and only has 45,000 miles, sponsored by Johnson Machine Shop. Next from Brown Chevrolet, pickup provided by Brown. They take pride in people and wish to play on another 100 years of success. Chevy 4x4 with float, first farmer's co-op, ranches at Cleghorn, Cherokee, Laramie, and Marcus, Duluth, town of Cleghorn. Congratulations, Cleghorn, for 100 years. Craig Jorgensen and Doug Secretary in the pickup. First farmers, Cleghorn, Cherokee, Laramie, and Marcus. 1928 Model A open touring car owned by Radine Bauman and Patricia White, driven by Patricia White, and stored from ground up. This is the first parade for this car. 1928 Model A Roadster owned by Radine Bauman, once again driven by Radine, and stored from the ground up 1 year ago. 1946 Ford half-ton pickup owned by Radine Bauman, driven by Leon Flutz, excuse me. It broke from the ground up in 1987. A pickup, 1931 Model A Ford pickup. Neil and Arlene Warner and grandson Hudson Graham. And the 1930 Model Buick original paint job. Brian Murphy, driver, figure Eric Springhouse, cousin from Pearson. 68 Border Garpoera. Mac and Mabel Byram, Spencer, Iowa. Iowa Great Lakes Auto Club. First on the property, Cleghorn Cherokee March, the elderly two horses pulling a wagon, dogs and horses pulling an old triple box farm wagon. Owner and driver is Bob Campbell, wife and passengers are a family of first-timer employees. Bob of the Cherokee Cherokee manager, short for the farmer and so on. Increasing the VFW membership here in the ship. Pick up a Centennial float, pick up a sponsor by Phones and Plus, where phones are our business, not a sideline. Mark your calendars to attend the 1992 Centennial in Milford, July 27th through August 2nd. Milford Commercial Club sponsoring that float. Float sponsored by Polina Chamber of Commerce, Middlewest Polina, and Mr. Polina, Contest Hotels on 328. Come to the Polina and enjoy golfing, swimming, and camping. Little Miss Polina, Lori Bolton, runner-up Ashley Manchester. Little Mr. Polina, Scott Sam, runner-up Derek Benner. On July 4th, the Polina, the parade at 1 o'clock. Summer Show, Big Go, Fine Ice Candy tomorrow in the city park. Polina Chamber of Commerce. VFW Auxiliary 2253 flag float, pick up flag with the contract. Pete Killian, President, Betty Hammond, past President, Elba Porter, and Beverly Swanson. MC Community Library. Library Dining, reading is fun for all ages. Driver Dennis Altus, Joanne Rick is reading to Colin and Ryan Weimel, having Adam Jones, Kelly Olson, and Denise Alquist. Library Pennsylvania from 1 till 7 with a story hour at 3 o'clock for preschool and elementary children. Children numerous pictures and history of Cleghorn are on display. The MC Community Library. The Mary Hill and Centennial Float, 1922 H Farmall pulling back with replica of Mary Hill Church. Driver is David Pitt. The Centennial is in 1995. It's built by Cynthia and Jerry Weaver. Mary Hill Picnic Float, 1927 Farmall regular owned by Howard Pitt, President, pulling back and has the Mary Hill Picnic. Second Sunday in August, John Pitt driving. First tractor owned by the late Joe Pitt. Sponsored by Pitt Farm. Hello, Opal. Cleghorn babies, all born in May of 1986. These 4 babies were born in a 24-hour time span, and they all lived approximately 1 mile from each other, all born at Sioux Valley Hospital in Cherokee. Allison, Bailey, DJ, and Sharon. The Budweiser A-Horse Pony Hit. The wagon is an authentic replica. Drivers are Pete Hines and Pete Waddell, flag carriers from Bill Parker and Keon Hines, outriders Bob Parker and Trey Hines. The wagon is built by Pete Hines of Boston, Iowa. The dog's name is Dave, and Eleanor Tripping of Sioux City sponsoring this. Univista Settle and Furry Club. Bill Cameron with his wagon and black ponies, President Darwin McConkey, Cindy Hyrell, Lee Goodwin, and Bob Peterson. Outlaw Brothers of the American Revolution, transferring Bill Anthony's pickup into a float honoring the National Society Century of Service to the Nation. With patriotic bunting and the flag of the United States of America. The state of Iowa, Outlaw Brothers of the American Revolution, Mary Daly, Howard Children of the American Revolution, and the bicentennial of the Constitution of the United States of America. 1985 Black Mustang, owned by Nancy Bush and driven by Keith Rose. American Fire Department, 1949 Chevy fire truck, driver Don by the American Fire Department. Thanks a lot. Yacht Club Days at Spring Lake Park. A full boat Bronco owned by Dick and Rhonda Whitcock from Cherokee. Spring Lake Park Yacht Club Days. Boat and Bronco to advertise Spring Lake Yacht Club Days July 27 and 28 in Cherokee, Iowa. Sponsored by the Cherokee JCs. We'll feature partners introducers Supper, King Dance, Style Show featuring Michael Alexander on Friday, Kids Games, Christmas Wall, car shows, etc. Trigger King Dance. Wilderness Market, Molly Midland, Princess Shelley Oger, Markets Fair, August 10th, 11th, and 12th. From Denver, South Dakota, owner of Ken Cheddar of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, driver West Run of Sioux Falls, sponsored by Greenwood Funeral Home in Cherokee. Four-two-door hardtop, 175,000 miles, cars in original condition. Marion Stafford, Lakeview, Iowa. Our next boat is called Noah's Ark. Stephanie Wetherell, Sandy Kimberly, Jennifer and Dawn Coon, Melissa and Nicole Sunny, Emily and Zachary Wilcox, Joe Flagman, and Damon Wood. sponsored by the Cleghorn Presbyterian Church, who will incidentally begin serving food at 11 o'clock today if you're hungry. Stop in for some time. We'll be ready to serve you over there. Coming up in just a moment, the Happy Vector Shrine Brass Band. The band is on the wagon, David Sayer, President. Local Administrator, Secretary, Frank Johnson, Jimmy Johnson, Director. This is the Shrine Band organized in 1922. Band members are from Northwest Iowa, Northern Nebraska, and Southeast South Dakota. The Happy Vector Brass Band. Phil and Charlie Granite blowing the foreign exchange group staying with two guy blockers. Nice you folks to make the trip over here to Cleghorn to help us celebrate our Centennial. Our next primary state bank sponsoring the float, including the colors and Cleghorn's 100th anniversary 1939 John Deere Beef Tractor owned by Walt Sheriff and Margaret and float built by bank staff. Lee Jones is the driver. The Farmers State Bank of Market. Farm Machinery 1937 John Deere Beef Tractor owned by Walt Sheriff and Margaret. The 1931 John Deere threshing machine owned by Chuck Critchlow of Market. Walt Sheriff is on the board, the driver, with Chairman Joshua Peterson of Mapleton assisting, sponsored by Pearson and Critchlow. Pulled by FCK Tractor. They plan to have the Elba City Band running that boat. They couldn't help because of the ones down there being married today. Instead, we are carrying along some of the tools used by the farm families of days gone by. Driver's name is Jim Nelson, and the person riding in the boat is Lisa Nelson. The Elba City Treasure Running Collector Show is on August 10th, 2012. At the site 2 miles west and 1 mile north of Elba City on County Road M54. Elba City Treasure Running Collector Show sponsoring the boat. Antique 1938 Ellis Tractor WC with tractors and all with different hood and radiator and self-starter and 12-volt system. Brad Hoogle, the driver, Brennan Skate is the mechanic. Keep it running, bud. This boat was by 1938 Buick. Mechanic boat was donated to Marcus Economic Development Corporation by Cape Brennan and a contribution was not in Marcus. Mark Hesse, the owner and driver of the 38 Buick. Metro and Lincoln Chevrolet sponsoring that one. Here's the Noah Marks boat. American Evangelical Preacher sponsors of the Holland Sports Club, a non-denominational club for boys and girls with emphasizes scripture memory and whose goal is to reach boys and girls for Jesus Christ. On the boat are some of the boys and girls with some of their leaders. Western Jersey Mutual Insurance sponsoring the next one. Team of 1,000 horses and wagon owned and driven by Harlan and Gertrude Nolenkamp from Sanborn, Iowa. Western Jersey Mutual sponsoring that one. The Goat, Mixed Breed, Florence and Dukeman. From Community Co-op Oil. Reverend Oktoberfest coming up. Queen and her court. Spring Allison Huffenau, runner-up Leslie Jess, Heidi Figgis, and Diane Duckworth, Diane Worth, excuse me. The Oktoberfest this year is on October 27th, featuring a supper with German and American food served family style, sponsored by the Remsen Chamber of Commerce. Up next in Cherokee, the Cherokee Fire Department, fire truck 1917 American LaFrance, Terry Parrott, Jim Leebrey, Terry Rushland, Terry Chase, and Forrest Lentz, the first motorized fire truck in Cherokee, sponsored by the Cherokee Fire Department. Up next, Shooter Construction, pulling the boat was Cargo Express. Joe Shooter has been in the construction business for 35 years. Bill and Wanda Willems have owned the Cargo Express for 3 years, Cargo Express, and Joe Shooter Construction sponsoring this one. And from Spencerway, Deb Grant's Kitchen, outside of Spencer with their 14 of llamas. Thanks for attending. Great big feed up there at Doug's Llama Ranch. Up next, 1966 Chevy Impala Super Sport. Larry and Dan and Jackie Piggott. Purchased last fall as the winter project. Most of the restoration was done by Larry himself. Looks nice, Larry. The race car, the 77 Malibu, Bomber Class, Jet Rivers, Al Ruff, Julie Steeler. Sponsored by Rep Manufacturing, Cargo Express, and Pan's Beauty Shop. One of the hotter cars around. I've got a little red car, Express built three-quarter scale replica of the 1903 runabout built by James Cooper. James and Maxine Cooper of Galena, Iowa. So that's what sales and service. Antique car, 1931 Dodge Brothers sedan, 90% original. Lee and Marilyn Hanson. Hello, Lee. The O'Brien County Historical Society from Cleghorn, Iowa, 1929 Model A Ford, pulling the boat with an antique serving machines and spinning wheel. Laura and Joyce Springer, Melvin Powers, 1929 Model A Ford, Lorna Wilson, Pete Powers, and Cindy Winger on the boat. Okay, looking down the evangelical preachers, the Real American 1928 regular farmhall, driven by Craig Iverson and owned by Ed Georgie, is pulling a model of their church. Oakdale Church, congratulations Cleghorn on the Centennial, and Oakdale invites you to Oakdale Centennial in 1992. The Oakdale Preacher, north of Meriden. Up next, the Community Co-op Oil Company in Marcus, the old Ward Strong Tank Wagon. They don't exactly know what year this was built. Wes Hirschman, employee many years at the co-op. Since 1937, 53 years. Sponsored by the Community Co-op and Rick's Tank Wagon Service. Now we back there trying White Horse Patrol, Sioux City, Iowa. Here ride Pink Skin Precision Parade and Drill Troop. Paul Brunger, Captain, Dr. Roger Spencer, President. It appeared that during all major functions in the U.S., including Rose Bowl Parade twice, the Cotton Bowl Parade down in Dallas, presidential, inaugural, and many more. Laverne and Dora Schaefer are sponsoring this. I would like to shine White Horse Patrol. Thank you, fellas. Beautiful. Next, the 1930 Missouri Turing 2256 Farm Tractor. This tractor was bought new from the International Harvester Company in Meriden by Reginald Patrick, grandfather of Larry Patrick, mayor of Cleghorn, Keith Walker, and grandson. This tractor was used on many treasure runs in the American area for many years. Keith Walker. 1929 General Purpose John Deere tractor owned by Keith Walker, driven by son-in-law Rex Ruder and Dollar Molly. These tractors were the only 1928 234. 1968 Mustang, blue with original blue paint, owner is Mike and Jean Rowe. 1951 Mercury, owner of Mike and Jean Rowe, 51 Mercury, car has only 28,000 miles. Car has been in the family since it was new, driven by Lyle and Lorraine Mason. 1941 Chevy Business Street, shuffle belt, vehicle, we all pay that. Except for the passenger vehicle is on all original equipment, including the few things and stretchers. 20,000 actual miles. John Deere A, antique tractor, 1938 miles, 1939 miles, pound safe driving. 1959 Chevrolet four-door McCain, Cliff Carlson. Car was bought for driver's ed by Twin Beach School. Cliff Carlson and Sons, the owners. 28 cars, Doug Rasmus, sons Jason and Jordan. Scaled down version of the old farm wagon built for Clarence Rasmus Sr., sponsored by Rasmus Sales. The 1936 Pontiac Deluxe two-door truck sedan, Rick Hoffmeyer of Kingsley. This car was awarded second in this class at the National Pontiac Convention in Dayton, Ohio last summer. The interior was done by Cleghorn own Rod French upholstery. A homemade three-wheeler made from a 1958 Volkswagen and 1973 Yamaha motorcycle, drives and shaped like a car, driven by Jack Weinbach, candidate to re-election on the Board of Supervisors. Riding is right parallel, owned by Keith Walker. Here's the Dune Buggy, 1979. It's a VW chassis, a 14-inch removed from the wheelbase, and a fiberglass body built to the command. Powered by a 1600cc engine. Neil Johnson driving. 1954 Packard Clifford. Last year this car was made. Driver Trudy Schroeder and the Walker grandchildren. Owned by Keith Walker. Sponsored by Walker Standing Driver of Cherokee. 54 Packard. 1965 Ford Mustang GT Fastback. Owned by Doug and Cindy Lundquist of Helena. Driven by Kevin Cruz. The rare 65 Mustang not only having a high output 289 V8 engine, it also powers steering, wood grain dashboard, steering wheel, and factory air conditioning. 1966 Ford Mustang Coupe, the car show winner in 1989 and 90, since being restored by Doug Lundquist and Mike Rolfman in 1988. Hi, Doug. Everglow paint, real nice looking out there. Next to Farmwall M, McCormick during Horse Moore, 1953 Super M, McCormick during Moore, 1930, well, model Moore it is. Bob Johnson driving a tractor. Moore was driven by Doris Birch. 1937 W.C. Alice Chalmers tractor, Robert Thompson the owner, Ken Abraham driving that. 1959 Pontiac convertible, Lynn Lundquist for treasurer, quality service plus experience. Driver Dave Lundquist, Gary and Lynn Lundquist. He's worked in the treasurer's office for 25 years and does a great job, qualified by dedication and experience. Linda Lundquist. Welcome into this fall. County treasurer. Hi, Linda. From Aurelia, Iowa, the bulk gas tank truck, 1947 Dodge truck with a 1921 bulk gas tank. Truck and tank were restored in 1973 for the original Aurelia Centennial by Royce Coggill, driver Bill Coggill, son of Royce Coggill, passenger. Coggill Trucking and Service Station sponsoring this. The 59 Ford Galaxy 500, Darrell Waltman. And the 62 Galaxy 500, convertible, Lloyd Waltman. The 1950 customized VW bus owned by Leanne Voss, short and wheelbase. Hitler's Revenge engine. Leanne Voss. Driver Roger Voss and riding with him Lou Morgan. Wives are in the back, Kathy and Leanne. John, Donna, Lorna, Jessica, Ray, Grant, Belinda, Ken, Kevin, and Elaine Levitt. Marcus Lumber Company has served this area since 1920 and would like to take this opportunity to thank the people of Cleghorn for their support. Sponsored by the Marcus Lumber Company. Building a bright tomorrow. Antique Tractor and Mower, 1946 John Deere P. 1934 John Deere number 4 and more. Brad Peterson, the driver. Area Killer Slinger and grandchildren. And here's the tractor driven by Brad Peterson, 46 John Deere B. The 1934 John Deere number 4 more. Next, 1964 blue Wildcat convertible, black with white interior. This is the original interior and top. Roger Parker, the driver. Rodney Parker, grandson, is the rider. 54,000 actual miles. The car is owned by Marjorie Parker of Cherokee. 1952, start dreaming. Chevy pickup in the cab. Albert Kennedy driver and Paul Nelson in the back. Bruce Patrick Stanicky and Travis Wilson Nelson. Nate Worsman, great-grandson of Alva and Ruth, representing the two graduation classes of Cleghorn High School, 1937 and 1938. Sponsored by Alva Stanicky. I'll take the quote from the popcorn days. Down at Shaler, Queen Holly Hamburger, Princesses Tanya Mauser and Shelley Rowing. Popcorn days are July 13th and 14th. Free popcorn both days. The Chamber of Commerce Shaler, an American popcorn company. Up next, the 1990 John Deere 9500 Combine. Ken Cronin driving, Andy and Matt Dickerson right along. Ken does going to be combining throughout the area. Market Fair, the Market Fair Association. It is coming up August 10th, 11th, and 12th. On board the fair board and members of the family. Once again, the Market Fair is coming up in just a few short weeks, August 10th, 11th, and 12th. Up next, we got Susan Parent, Cherokee County Treasurer, Melissa Parent, Emily Parent, daughters, Mary Parent, Abby Parent, Dana Sloda, Julia Sloda, Rachel Parent, and Valerie Parent, the nieces. Susan is running on the Democratic ticket. She would appreciate your support. The Cherokee County Treasurer, sponsored by the committee to elect Susan as Treasurer. Up next to the Riverside Float, Larrabee Fun Day. Lauren and Elsie Hudson driving this pickup. Celebrating Fun Day, August 11th, 1990, getting at 8:30 a.m. with a fun run. There are various events going on throughout the day, followed by an evening dance, dance run throughout the evening. Larrabee Fun Day Committee. Up next, the First Farmers Cooperative, the air spreader, owned by Lyle Metcalf, the First Farmers Cooperative, Cleghorn, Cherokee, Larrabee, and Market. It's an air-flow system, even if distributing your fertilizer and chemical. We have a nice pickup pulling the gooseneck trailer. All the queens sit on the trailer, and we have our names beside us for the city. The Ida County Queens. Beef Queen, Pork Queen, Pork Princess, Beef Princess, and the Chief Princess. Nice to have you all here. Until the Ida County Fair, August 1st through the 5th. 1954 Star Chief Pontiac has a straight 8 engine with 87,000 actual miles. This price new was $22.50 as you see it. Oscar and Nellie Sunblad, the owners. He was born in Cherokee County and grew up here in different parts of the county. Sunlight Commercial Club, Labor Day Float, Sunlight Commercial Club, being pulled by Town and County Auto Works of Sutherland. Sponsored by the Civil and Commercial Club, driving as Tracy Maxwell and riding as Jason Maxwell. People would like to invite everyone to their Labor Day celebration. Town and Country Auto Works offers 24-hour record service plus mechanic work. Team of Arabian horses, pulling Queen and Yellow Wagon. Practice of Florence Spearman. Sponsored by San C. of Marcus. Two riders are Chuck Spearman of Marcus and Doug Drexler. There we have a little deer. That's our deer to us. One more pulling two wagons with a fawn and puppy. Understanding along with the kids. Dusty Cody and Carla Rasmus. Sponsored by TK Double Day Kennel. This is from Dog Mania Productions. Mary Herman. The center gives a new meaning to the word hot dog. Covers the Mary at the draft sale and Cedar Company and Companies and some with dinosaurs. There's Russell Bill in the Cadillac, 1958. The pink Cadillac. Driven by Uncle Bill. 1959 Chevy owned by Dan Murphy, Mr. and Mrs. Dana Sump, Todd and Benny Toma. Todd Toma is a Democratic candidate for state representative. National Campers and Hikers Association, Chapter 9 in Brentwood, was animated in a woodpecker by the Woodbury Woodies. They are the local couple of the NCHA, which stands for National Campers and Hikers Association, family camping and RV association that provides services on a local, state, and national level. Up next, Bev Anderson with the political convertible. She is the Secretary of State candidate in Cherokee County, riding in the gray convertible, red, white, and blue gals, mascot, and marshal. Bev is the Cherokee County auditor, 20 years, serves on many state boards and national boards. Bev was just nominated Saturday, June 23rd at the Representative State Convention at Vets Auditorium in Des Moines. Beverly Anderson for Secretary of State's campaign. 79 Pontiac Formula Firebird, Todd Haynes and Christy Jennings. Todd has bought this car, wrecked in the rebuilt body shop. School at NIPC in 1986. Todd is also a 1985 grad of Harrisburg High School. 1959 Ford Ranch Wagon grad of Becky Perman, Helena, Iowa. Up next, Patterson for supervisor. Two horses ridden by Nathan and Nathan and Renee Patterson. They will be led by Mark and Becky Patterson. Two clowns carrying buckets of candy. Sponsored by Mark Patterson. Mark will appreciate their support. Up next, Carol Supervisor. Carol Peters is the supervisor. Carol Peterson for supervisor of Cherokee County. The Coleman Series show, that's a 38 tractor show made from 1939 to 1953. Six cylinder shower, Wayne Raffle, the driver. Tractor's a 3-plow tractor shower that will show about 100 to 120 bushel per hour. Pioneer Machinery Club of Merrill sponsoring that. Elevator Shrine, the Vintage Wheels Unit, 1949 Mercury, Dean and Joyce Hill from Sioux City, Iowa, with the 1949 Mercury. Dean Hill, the owner. The Lincoln Continental Convertible, Gerald Cleghorn, Cherokee, Vintage Wheels, Elevator Shrine, not sponsoring this. 1922 Model T Ford, Canadian Ford, left-hand door, Brian Vintage, Wheels, Sioux City. Took 5 years to restore this. Great job. Steve Alice, 1936 vintage tractor. Steve and Donald Stott of Marcus got the tractor this winter and they rebuilt it in his spare time. Steve and Don Stott. 1941 H Farm Hall, driver and owner James Bruce with the grandson Ryan Paulson, owner by James Bruce. Mike Earl for Congress, Democratic candidate for Congress, Iowa 6th District. Mike Earl, appreciate your support. Hello, Mike. Thanks for coming. Mike Earl, a Democrat. Vote for Mike is a vote for Iowa. Tony Nation A-Rack, Sarah Lily Doggett, the Melvin, grandkids, Sherry and Jim, sponsored by Mormon Speed. 1969 Sports Satellite Convertible, medium blue, owned by Jeff Bain. Jeff Bain owns it. And King Canada, King Frantic is the passenger. Owned by Jeff. William joins marriage with the 1957 Cadillac, riding with Steve joins his family. 1957 Cadillac. Up next, an antique fire truck, the 1942 International 5400, actual miles, a lot of short runs. Brandon Lawrence and Lloyd Heitfuss, the Germantown Fire Department. Now, Chalmers 1948 Model C garden tractor. Buster Bush driving. Marcus J.C. Spencer Garnett entry. Outdoors dance July 7th. Band the Street Legal and Transition. Great band. Coming up Saturday, July 7th. Fourth annual outdoor dance for Marcus J.C. 1955 Mercury, Montclair two-door hardtop. Margaret DeBoer, the owner. Driver is Maynard DeBoer from Archer, Iowa. 1962 Buick convertible, Pete Peterson, sponsored by Bessie Chevrolet, Marcus. Cherokee Camera of Congress, the pickup was donated from Brown Chevy and driven by John Woods of Cherokee, Cherokee County Fair Queen, Amy Kirk of Aurelia, and second runner-up Amy Johansson of Cherokee are riding. The Cherokee County Fair begins on July 11th and runs through July 15th. It's the 67th annual Cherokee County Fair. Up next, the 1971 Cutlass convertible with the Democratic Party, Mike Earl and Eric Golding, I believe it is. Get it. Okay, thank you. Tom Hargan, U.S. Senate. 1951 Chevrolet with Vernon Grauer at the wheel. Vernon. Marcus Lions Club with the next entry. The Chevy pickup, Tanya Amber and John Schneider, Jim Nielsen and Don Roy. Sponsored by Nessie Chevrolet. Another race car, number 3 modified, owned by Roger Wickerman and driven by Dennis Hoppinga. Pit crew of Sue Breeze, Jason Breeze, and Kevin Kremke, sponsored by Weatherall here in Cleghorn. Up next, the Wrecker, 1941 Dodge truck. Roger Nelson, Jim Hollish, and Jake Taylor, used by Marcus Garageman, Claude Gray, 1919 through 1980. Right behind the Wrecker, we have the little car, driven by Michael Buggy. And at the mayor's site here in Cleghorn, the 5-man bicycle, headed up by Fred Johnson. Thank you, fellows, for all your work here in the Centennial. Kind of tough riding the bike at a half-mile an hour, isn't it? like to introduce our Master of Ceremonies for the evening. He's a man who's lived in Cherokee County most of his life, aside from attending Iowa State University and USD. And he's a familiar face to all of us from around here in Cleghorn. Superintendent of the American Cleghorn High Schools from 1974 until the sharing agreement went into effect with Marcus. My pleasure to introduce Mr. Leland Anderson. Lee, it's all yours.
Thanks, Bruce. I think we should give Bruce a big hand here for running through here without having a complete chaos. So Bruce, let's give a big hand to Bruce Branch here. Thank you, Bruce. I have been asking all my friends this week some jokes. I'd like to have some good jokes to tell. I'm up here. And almost every one of them said, I've got a good joke, but you won't be able to tell it at the reunion. So you know what kind of friends I have, I guess. Our first speaker this evening is Leon Stanford. Leon went to Buena Vista College, got his master's at the University of South Dakota, was a high school principal, coached both girls and boys basketball, commercial teacher, typing, shorthand, bookkeeping, and some math and physics. And so at this time, we want to keep this going. I know it's real hot, but Leon, come on up and say a few words. Thank you.
Down memory lane. The first time I was in Cleghorn was in February 1941. It was the first time that I ever was a starter on the varsity basketball team at Larrabee and played the whole game. A couple of Macintoshes, a Marshall, a Hanson, a Ray, and a Schlinger beat us 32-31. Now, wasn't that an awful reception? Now, I consider Cleghorn my second home, as so many important events of my life occurred here at this town. It was my first permanent employment. And I came here and teaching 2 world history classes, bookkeeping, typing, shorthand, junior high coach, and hot lunch supervisor. I'll tell you, people, that first day when I faced those girls in shorthand class, my knees were shaking just as bad as they were over in Europe during World War II. In 1948, I was asked to be the basketball coach when a suitable replacement couldn't be found for Mr. Beaubeer. Beaubeer left a fine nucleus and we had a very good year. I remember so many things about that year, which included my most embarrassing moment. Over to Marcus one night, as I kneeled down to give the boys their last instruction in the dressing room, my trousers split. We got busy with some athletic tape, taped it all up, and I instructed the boys that when we went out on the floor, they were to be around me in a circle and take me over and set me down on the bench, which they did. But during the game, during the timeouts, every time there was a timeout, they seemed to stay a little further away from me, trying to get me off that bench. They never did succeed. The next night, in the back of Mr. Park's store, he was remarking about my confidence in the first team. I couldn't see why I let the Marcus team get so close before I put the first team back in. Mr. Parks did not know that I was more interested in my seat of my pants than I was the score of the game. That year, Mr. Parks taught me a lot about coaching boys basketball in the back of his store. That year I had 5 substitutes that could have won most of our games. And at the end of the year, the community men decided to send the boys to state tournament. And we had a big old time down to Iowa City. Do you folks remember the Warsaw shot in the air at the gun that beat us by 1 point in that old gymnasium? Do you remember the county tournament and the parents leaving home at 4 o'clock in the afternoon in order to get a seat? And they left the chores for my boys. Do you remember the championship game and the boys carrying me off the floor? I was afraid they'd drop me. Do you remember how lethargic we were in the finals of the district tournament? And the next morning, several boys didn't show up to church because of the measles. The second big moment of my life was my marriage to Margaret in 1949. I'd like to ask her to stand up and wave a hand at you. That year, they called me in and decided I should coach girls basketball also. And we had a pretty good girls season, even though Meriden had a better one. I believe they went to the state tournament that year, if I'm not mistaken. The first half of the season, we practiced down to Meriden all the time. We didn't have a gym. They were building the new gym. And we played all home games after the 1st of January. Had a pretty fair girls team. Like I said, Meriden had a better one. They sent the girls down to the state tournament that year. Margaret was pregnant. And in order to get into Drake Fieldhouse, you had to line up because there was not reserved seats. And we were lined up at the door and the crowd was pressing in closer and closer. And Margaret was getting fainter and fainter. And the girls made a semicircle around her and they says, "We won't let this crowd push up too close." But finally we had to give up and leave. And the girls said, "We'll save you a place." And when Margaret and I got into Fieldhouse later on, you never seen those bunch of girls sitting so wide in your life. And we really had a wonderful place to sit. One of the hardest jobs of coaching girls was reminding the girls at the beginning of the season that if any of them were pregnant or got pregnant, they had to quit or we'd forfeit all of our games. Now, the boys repeated as county champions, and I always figured the snowstorm beat us in the finals of the district rather than the opponents. In 1950, the third big moment of my life, Doug was born. I'll bet there are several of you who remember the 3-year-old boy embarrassing his parents at the Presbyterian Christmas program when he stepped out of the lineup and started directing the chorus. He's now an obstetrician gynecologist in Waterloo, living with my 13 and 11-year-old grandsons and 2-year-old granddaughter. The next year, we set a record. After losing about 14 in a row, we won a game. We lost 5 in a row by 1 point through that stretch. When I started coaching, it was understood that when coaches become available, I could retire. I enjoyed coaching, but I disliked deciding who was good enough to play and who had to sit on the bench. In 1952, Mr. Peterson came to town to interview for superintendent and got stuck in the mud hole at the end of Main Street. He took the job, and Mr. Poling was hired as the coach, and I got to retire. We had really wonderful 5 years after that. So many memories. I roomed at Pete Fell's and he taught me cribbage. When we first started playing cribbage, he used to say it's all in knowing how to play your cards, and he beat me game after game. After a while I kind of caught on and I started beating him, and by the end of the second year I was winning my share, and Pete would say, "You can't score if you can't get the cards." One day a high school girl came in one morning and she was crying. She told me she had run into my car. And I says, "How in the world did you run into my car?" She says, "It didn't have any brakes." I says, "Well, how in the world did you stop it?" "Oh," she says, "we just put it in reverse and turn off the key." I guess she hadn't turned it off quite soon enough that time. Remember that Chevy Coupe I drove? Well, the first Halloween, it got well soaked all over the windows and a big mark in the driver's door. And several years later, after I traded the car, I had a boy come up to me and he said, "I was never so glad to see you get rid of a car because I was the one that put that mark on it, and I was ashamed of it every time I saw you." When we came here, do you remember the junior-senior banquets at school and driving to Sioux City for entertainment? The school picnic at the end of the school year? Doug came down with the measles about 10 days after one of those picnics. Margaret and I lived in 2 rooms in Fay Irwin's house over our first year. I carried all the water up and all the water back down, and we went up to the schoolhouse to shower. The 4th important event in my life was after I left Cleghorn, when my daughter was born in 1960. She now lives in Fort Worth, and they're expecting their first child in October. I can't sit down without mentioning that in the 36 years of school, I never had a custodian that was as third good as Walt Knapsiger. I also appreciated all the appreciated all the help that Mr. Jones gave me in my first year of teaching. Doug called him Dad Jones. And in my family, he still is Dad Jones. There are so many memories that I could talk the evening away. That would probably be pretty boresome to most of you, but we recall things for your fathers and grandfathers. I appreciate this opportunity and thank all of you that have been part of the best 10 years of my life. Thank you.
I've got a question. Somebody wanted to reminisce a little bit. How many of you here I'd like to have you stand up if you have your class ring. Have your class ring on. How many people here with a class ring and have their class ring on? Let's give them a hand. How many are there? There we go. Okay. Our next speaker is Don Sylvie. They say that, superintendents never die. They only lose their principles. I've lost quite a few through the years, Don, and I know you have too. But anyway, Don went to Morningside College. He taught in Lynn Grove before he went to Korea, and Mallard, and Orange City. He was Cleghorn for 5 years, and then at Armstrong. And so at this time, I would like to introduce Don Sylvie, a few words for us. Don?
Thank you, Lee. This is going to not be extensively long because it's doggone hot in here. It was probably late March or early April of 1958 when I received a call from Lawrence Goodrich, Secretary of the Cleghorn Board, inviting me to make an interview for the open superintendency. I was a 29-year-old band instructor at Orange City at the time, had a nice wife, Lois, stand up, and a cute little, what else, 11-month-old daughter. Even now, I wonder at the intestinal fortitude of the board members to even consider such a kid of 29 for the job of superintendent of schools. But we agreed on a meeting date, time, and place. I brought Lois along with me because I needed all the help I could get. When we got to the school that evening, the board members were involved in frying oysters for their annual oyster feed that they used to have. They were very nice to us and even invited us to join them in their feast. I had a heck of a time pretending I liked fried oysters because I absolutely detested the things. By the way, those members were, and if you're here, stand up, Oliver Miller, President, Gordon Bud Skaggs, Ray Prunty, Lyle McIntosh, and Leo French. To all these gentlemen, I say thank you for letting me have a chance to be your superintendent and starting my career. The district reorganized with Meriden officially on July 1st, 1960. The day after tomorrow, that will be 30 years. I was lucky again as the new board hired me to head up the new school system. So I guess I was the last Cleghorn superintendent and the first Meriden Cleghorn superintendent. The Cleghorn and Meriden schools were blessed with many fine and serious students. Someone may be surprised to hear that, but your state tests were always in the very high 90th percentiles. That was not due to this speaker, because we found them that way when we came here. We congratulate you on your 100 years. It's been 27 years since we left for Armstrong in 1963, and where we still reside. We have always remembered the kindnesses of our neighbors, the Smiths, the Mogenssons, the Ricos, and so on. Lois actually cried for 2 weeks straight before we finally got her to believe that I had accepted a position at Armstrong and that she was really going to have to leave her wonderful friends. We'll never forget the Frenches and our fishing trips, the McIntoshes, the Millers, the Skaggs, the Pruddys, and the Goodriches, including my very loyal and true secretary, Lilas Goodrich. I would also like to say thank you to those great faculty members who were serving with us at the time, and also, as was mentioned earlier, a very fine staff, custodians, cooks, bus drivers, the whole works of you. God bless you all. Thank you.
When I was at the registration booth this afternoon, I know we had a lot of people from California and Oklahoma and Colorado, but we have some people here that are a lot farther away than any place in the States. And I just thought it might be a little recognition for them, the foreign exchange students. Now I know of some that are here, and I would like to have them stand up at this time. Jeanette from Norway, Susanna from Germany, Kristen from Norway, and Christina from Brazil. Will you please stand up? They came a long ways for our reunion, and we really feel very proud of them. And are also thanks to the Dialockers for making them feel home here in the United States and in Cleghorn. I'm sure that they must have really appreciated all their help to come back to help us celebrate the Centennial. Our next speaker, Gail Jean McIntosh Cadwalder. She was valedictorian of her class in 1968, graduated from Iowa State University with a BS degree in physics. If I recall, most of my physics and chemistry students, usually most girls didn't care for that subject so much, so maybe she is a little, one of the better ones that try to follow this as a career. She's been employed with General Atomics at La Jolla, I think that's right, California, for the past 18 years, where she is a staff engineer. She believes to be the first and only woman engineer to come from the Cleghorn schools. Now, maybe some of you can refute that later on, but this time, I'd like to announce and introduce Gail Jean McIntosh Cadwalder. Gail.
Leon Stanford. I went to first grade with his son Doug. And Mr. Sylvie, I remember you and your little girl Rebecca. When I was thinking about all the memories from Cleghorn and Meriden Cleghorn, they kind of fell into two groups of things. One was the bus rides, and the other was the good education we got here. The bus rides, you take it for granted. You live in the country, you ride the bus. I lived close to town, so we were flexible. We rode every bus route over the 12 years I went to school. I got to know everybody. I got to observe the big kids when I was a little one, and I got to see the cute little ones when I was a big one. I was kind of naive when I heard that the city people were all up in arms about busing. Heck, we did that all the time. It gave us a chance to socialize. When you live on the farm, you don't get to see very many other kids. But the other thing about bus rides I remember are the special ones, like to the football games, the band trips, the breakdowns that we had. When you lose a bus, when you're going to a band trip, where's the other half of the band? That was memorable. The other thing about going to Cleghorn, Meriden Cleghorn, was the good education. Of course, I went to school between 55 and 68. This was the time of the space race. The Russians sent up Sputnik in 57, and we put a man on the moon in 69. So we had a good education and a good, strong science background. You know, I was surprised, you may know this, 30% of the astronauts are from the state of Iowa. That tells you something about what a great place this is. Even in my class, our class prophecy said that one of our classmates was going to be an astronaut. Now, why would that be? Why would so many astronauts come from Iowa? The education, obviously, and I think there's a couple of other reasons. This is my own hypothesis. One is, you can lay out in the grass, in the front lawn, and look at the stars on a warm summer's night. You can see millions and billions of stars. You go to the city, you cannot see that many stars. It's beautiful here. Your mind can wander and think about vast horizons, infinity. And I think that inspires some of us to move on to bigger, better things, move out and explore. And of course, the other thing about Iowa, the small schools, are the opportunities. In a small school, you have just as many sporting events, teams, band events, as they do in the big schools, but you've got so many fewer kids. A larger percentage get to participate. We had the opportunity to do. We had the encouragement to do. We had the can-do attitude, not the let somebody else do it attitude. When I was a little girl, my dad told me a story about this little engine who was afraid that he couldn't pull the train up the mountain. His mother encouraged him, sure, you can do it, you can do it. And he, well, he thought about it, and he took her encouragement, and when it came time for him to pull the train up the mountain, he said, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. He got to the top of the mountain, he made it. He was so happy going down that mountain. He said, I knew I could, I knew I could, I knew I could. And I think that's the whole thing about the attitude of the small town. You can do it. So that's why I'm happy to be here now, celebrating with Cleghorn a century on the right track. Thank you.
Okay, you know, this is a time for reminiscing a little bit. Like I said, I didn't graduate from Meriden Cleghorn High School, but I was at 14 graduations, so I think I know quite a few of the kids, and as you mentioned before, nothing made me more proud than to look into the paper and see all of our students on the honor rolls, dean's list at our colleges throughout Iowa and throughout the United States. And I'm real proud of all the graduates of our school. When you meet someone, a lot of times the hair is a little grayer. So many of these people around here now have beards, and a lot of them say, well, I didn't realize that was you. You've changed so much. But I think actually after next week, a lot of these faces will get back to normal, probably be sunburned after a few days. But it's sure great to have so many people participate in the activities of the Cleghorn Centennial. Our next speaker is Daryl Bobier, and he was a graduate of South Sioux City High School in Nebraska, a BA degree from Wayne State Teachers College, a math and biology science major, master degree from the University of Northern Colorado, educational administration major, doctorate degree from the University of Denver, psychology, guidance, and counseling. He coached all sports, football, girls, basketball, and track, taught math and science courses at Cleghorn Consolidated School in 1946, 47, 47, and 48. So at this time, I'd like to present Daryl Bovier. Oh, Daryl.
Thank you. You know, when that songwriter wrote the song, "It's a Hot Time in the Old Town Tonight," I don't think he had this maybe in reference, but it is a warm town and a warm time, and I think it just reflects the warmth of the Cleghorn community. So we'll accept it as that. There have been some mentions as far as the quality of the education in Cleghorn. I think the organization of this event attests to the high quality of the individuals who came out of this school system, because there's been such a tremendous job that has been done. I've never seen anything fit together quite so well as the way that this committee and everybody that's worked with the committee has done. So congratulations to all of you who have a part on this. Bruce had asked me to reminisce some of my experiences at Cleghorn. Well, to do that I have to roll the calendar back 44 years. But not to fear. At my age, reminiscing is what I do best. So you're in good shape. But I do reserve the right to have some notes. First, I must take you back to about April of 1946 when Lee Jordan came to Wayne State recruiting, and he was looking for a math, science, and athletic coach, and convinced me the best place in the whole world for me to start my career was at Cleghorn. I also think he was desperate for a math-science combination too. Then next was the Bovier invasion of Cleghorn. I wonder what the people looking out their windows thought. Here my wife and I, Maxine, arriving in an old Model A Ford, a week-old baby, a baby bed, and a tub tied on top of the Model A as we cruised into town. Fortunately, and I mean fortunately, we were adopted by Clarence and Doris Jones. You know, it still kind of chokes me up to think about what wonderful people they were, what they did for us as we arrived in town, and soon recognized that really what they were showing us was only kind of a tip of the iceberg of Cleghorn for the warmth, the acceptance that we had here. Where else in all of the world would you find a basket of tomatoes on your front step, potatoes? Then when George Mitchell would shell corn, we'd have a load of cobs in the back. That made it a lot easier for my wife to start fires down in the furnace, so we really appreciated that. Then too, occasionally there'd be a watermelon
on the front step. I never did investigate that too much though, because I was usually asked by the boys at football practice, "Hey coach, how'd you like the watermelon?" I didn't know they probably went over to Cherokee and bought it in the grocery store and laid it down. Football was resurrected at Cleghorn in the fall of 1946. That was after many years that they had given up football during the war years. So here the group of brave lads that showed up for all of that equipment to be tried on. And incidentally, did you realize a Board of Education that went all the way out, bought all new equipment for those kids to start the season? But trying on that equipment on that first day, and of course I soon recognized what the priority of the Cleghorn boys were when they tried on their hip pads backwards. You'd have to know hip pads to appreciate that comment. Our record that year, 1 win, 1 tie, 4 losses. That must have been a terrible team that we beat. I don't remember who it was. But the kids stuck it out, never gave up. They were a good group. Then came basketball. A little bit different story. And as Leon had said, he had the girls basketball. Well, I had grown up in Nebraska. So girls basketball was a foreign game to me. Fact of the matter is, the first game I ever saw, I was sitting on the bench and I was called coach. The truth be known, such a great group of girls that coached me and at least got me through that season, and we had respectable record that season. You know, one of the things that amazed me though, as I came here, is how small the crowds got. They seemed to shrink after the girls' basketball game for the boys' game. There's about half the crowd that was left. The 1947-48 year was a much better year. Fact of the matter is, we paid back a lot of teams that had trumped us the year before. And at that time, I think that there was kind of the beginning of an era of some good teams here at Cleghorn, and thanks to Leon, who followed, that they were able to capitalize on the good ability of the kids that were there. We would have had probably that last year just a little better record in the boys' basketball game. I know we would have won one more ball game. If it hadn't been for a situation where it seemed that there was a boy on, I think it was the Meriden team, or Quinby, now I can't recollect, and one of the boys on my team used to play catch-up ball all the time in basketball. They would play, they grew up together, playing basketball. So it was always a case where they played on the same team. Well, it seems that the critical moment in the game, this one player said to my player, the friend, said, "Hunter, throw me the ball." And threw him the ball. And the kid took it down, got it for a basket. That was it. Now, I don't remember all the details of the incident, but if you talk to Jack Forsman, I think he's intimately acquainted with somebody who knows the details of that particular game.
You know, I'm not going to mention, probably go into a great deal of detail of the high caliber of the students that I found at Cleghorn, because that's been mentioned and only be redundant. But I would emphasize that, along with such a great faculty as I remember them. Remembering the small classes, well-equipped rooms, the parental involvement in the school. You know, you're bound to be successful given those circumstances. I don't know how my time is coming, whether I have another time for another incident. It'd be okay? Then I'll wind it up. You know, as a first-year teacher, you learn a lot, and I think all first-year teachers will tell you this. I taught the math, and one of the classes that I taught was geometry. And the first few pages of the geometry, you're going through definitions, you're learning what points are, and you're learning what lines are, and you're learning what four-sided figures are called, and three-sided, and so forth. And had drilled that in and given a quiz, and thought I had done a wonderful job of teaching. I knew there was no question about it that they'd probably all come out with about 100% on that quiz. Well, one of the shockers, I'm checking through the quiz, one of the questions was, how many lines same plane can be drawn between 2 points not in the same plane? Okay, this is the way it was. Well, the answer that was given by one of the students was, it depends upon how big you make the points. And what he did was make two great big points on the paper and drew multiple lines through it. So that cooled me as far as a teacher, being so self-satisfied and what a great job that I was doing. I mentioned the teachers. I want to take the liberty to give special recognition to one of the teachers that you had here for years and years, who contributed so much to this community, who loved this community so much. And I know that there's so many out there that were touched by him. And I don't even think I have to mention the names as I see the faces here, and that was Clarence Jones. What a wonderful human being. What a great teacher. What a great friend he was of mine. I think I've used up my time, certainly, Mr. Anderson, and again, thank you very much for inviting my wife and I back to your celebration. We will always remain a part of your community.
Okay, we have our next speaker. He's going to put you to work, I think. So get those song sheets out here. I got a couple of things here, though, I guess that us older people read about, you know, when you're getting old, and every time I look at them, I guess I'm getting closer to that age all the time. You know you're getting old when almost everything hurts, and what doesn't hurt doesn't work. Your little black book contains only the names ending in MD. Your children begin to look middle-aged. They're coming along here. Your mind makes contracts your body can't keep. You look forward to a dull evening. Well, I hope it hasn't been too dull this evening. I know there's a lot of activities coming up, the parade and all the different activities tomorrow, and so we hope you will all join in these. Let's give Lang's Cafe a big hand, I think, with this number of people we had, about over 800. And that is quite a job to get this all taken care of. Our final speaker for this evening is Ed Mitchell, a 1955 graduate of Cleghorn High School, attending Morningside College from 55 to 58, then Drake Law School from 58 to 61, practiced law in Alton from 1961 to 1985, and then appointed to the Iowa District Court 3rd Judicial District in Alton. So get your song sheets out, and Ed will give it to you. Where do you go? Yeah, here we go. Come on, Ed. Just come right up here. No, that's it?
I think you've heard all the speeches you want, and I don't plan to give one. What I did think I would do was let you reflect a little bit. I look down here and I see Jim, and so we have some musicians. I see Jim Thompson and Jim Wilcox. Everybody knows those guys as musicians. You have song sheets. You want to get them out? We have a technical crew over here. The orchestra tonight is sitting in the pit. The songs you're going to recognize, those of you who want to sing, please feel free to, because I just wave my arm. I don't sing. What I think made Cleghorn a great town was that people cooperated. And I concluded that I couldn't tell any of you anything you didn't already know about Cleghorn. And the people who don't know about Cleghorn, that's their problem. I think that each of us had a favorite teacher. Some have been mentioned tonight, some have been here and spoken to you. But I hope that as we go through these little songs, it'll bring back just a little bit of a memory about the teachers we all had that did such a nice job helping us get on our road to life. Okay, let's have the first song. We're going to listen the first verse. The orchestra is becoming around again. Are you ready? Let's go. There's a school in Cleghorn, Iowa, the best school that there is, some say. It's still that good today, so let's remember how it got that way, because in years to come, when people find it was the Cleghorn school that shaped your mind, they'll all applaud and stamp their feet. And that's the time that you repeat that you're from Cleghorn High School, Cleghorn, Iowa. I don't mean Cherokee, that you're from Cleghorn High School, Cleghorn, Iowa. Give yourselves a big hand, those of you that sang, and those of you that didn't, you don't pass. We're going to keep right rolling along here, aren't we? All right. I want you to think about it now. These are the words that mean the most to you. The orchestra is about to start again. Is the orchestra? I think we'll just put it on fast forward and run it through. Okay, ready to go. song sheet. Sing them loud. The orchestra is taking another break over here. In a schoolhouse built in Cleghorn, oh, 'twas many years ago. All the teachers taught the students all the things that they should know, so that they might go into the world and do their very best. By those teachers who taught us, we've been blessed, we've been blessed. Now the years have passed so quickly, we get older one by one. As we think about our school days and the things we've seen and done, some things we can count as finished, but there's much still left to do. Let us pause and savor memories with our friends who are so true. The orchestra's taking another break now. How much are we paying these guys? They got it really cheap, didn't you? I want you all to leap your feet on the rah-rah. The former cheerleaders only. Former cheerleaders, leap your feet for the rah-rah. No former cheerleaders. Hope this repeats. Does it repeat? Does it have double? Back home again in dear old Cleghorn, with our friends of days gone by. Some have been gone a while, and now return and smile with the thoughts of dear old Cleghorn High. For those who stayed here and kept things going, let us stand and give a cheer. For tonight's the night we all belong, remember. 'Cause the best things in life began right here. I think we learned all of our values here, and those values were pretty important to all of us. And they've helped us through our life, through the difficult times that all of us have had. The last song on the program, I'm not going to ask you to go through in rehearsal, because if you don't know that, you'll just have to learn it the first time through. You can stand and sing, or however you wish. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside and guide through the night where the light will above. From the mountains to the prairies, through the ocean, has been my privilege and my pleasure to do this with you. I didn't pretend that I had anything that I could say to you, and I thought this would be the fun way to say the things that I feel about Cleghorn. I hope you agree. Good night.
Be sure and check all the activities, list of activities. I don't know if he's here right now, but there's one person I know the other night stayed up most of the night. There were quite a few, but one especially, Bruce Schmadke. I think we should give Bruce a big hand for all the terrific amount of work that he's done throughout this centennial. Thank you.
Faster!
Come down there.
No. If I had any time at all, I probably would be.
How's it going?
We're doing
great. Hang in there.
not even winded at all.
Necking at the end.
Say something profound, Howard.
Like what?
Come on, Courtney, wake up.
In the people who surround us, we have chosen to live more by our fears than by our faith, to be weighed down by what we have not, rather than rejoicing in your gifts to us. May we remember that you are with us wherever we go. Enlarge our capacity to care so that we may see you in all whom we meet. In Jesus' name, amen.
fine ballad singers of all time, Mr. Jim Neighbors, Gomer Pyle. Bum, bum, bum. Caroline, please, won't you please be mine, golly, well you're mine.
I don't think that's going to work very well. Just doesn't fit our quartet very well. Jim, we need somebody with more pizzazz, some excitement, somebody to get this crowd going. Yeah. How about our next celebrity?
Certainly. And now, ladies and gentlemen, right here on our stage tonight, singing his song Caroline, is one of the fine British singers-songwriters, Mr. Anthony Newley. Hum, hum, hum.
That was terrible. Hey, very good. We need somebody with a more smoother voice, more contemporary. Can you introduce our next celebrity there, Mr. Ed?
Yeah, we'll give it a try. And now, ladies and gentlemen, right here on our stage tonight, singing the song Caroline, is one of the truly great pop singers of all time, Mr. Johnny Mathis.
Singing in. Oh, that's bad. Say, Mr. Ed, do you know a guy from Ringston, Iowa, Mrs. Hanson's little boy, Billy? Yes, he works at the lumber yard there, Bill Hanson. Do you know him?
I suppose we can give him a shot at it.
Okay, why don't we do that?
We'll let him try it anyway. Did we win something?
Not yet. You might.
What's that? You don't know what our closing is, do you?
Oh, okay.
Fooled you. No, we will sing that for you. You bet. All right. We're just going to sing a little gospel tune to finish up here, and then we'll do that. You bet. Anyway, so, and then one other thing I'd like to just say on behalf of the quartet. One other thing I'd like to say, I know I speak on behalf of the rest of the guys when I say of all the audiences State Line Celebration has ever performed before, you people here this afternoon are the most recent. Thank you. Okay, we're ready. We're going to do a little gospel tune for you entitled Turn Your Radio On. Station where the mighty hosts of heaven sing. Turn your radio on. If you want to feel those good vibrations coming from the joy that love can bring, touch with God. Turn your radio on.
Okay, I guess I wanted to take just a minute. I can't tell you what this guy's did for us. He's been our leader all the way through. He's taken care of the meetings, he's taken care of this and taken care of that and got things done. And I guess the only thing I can attribute to, I think I coined the phrase when people come around wanting something done, see Bruce. Because Bruce did get it done for us. But Bruce, in behalf of the Centennial Committee and the people in the community here, I would like to present you with this little token of our appreciation, something that you can look at down the road and remember if you want to remember. But it is a gold railroad watch in keeping with our theme, 100 years on the right track. Inside, maybe Bruce will let you look at it if you come up here close. We've had it engraved inside that said the Cleghorn Centennial 1990. Thanks a lot, Bruce. Bruce.
Certainly a surprise, and it's the committee is certainly gracious, because the committee, I didn't know what I was going to say up here. Somebody told me that I should come up and say a few things 3 weeks ago, and I thought about it, and I didn't know what I was going to say until I got up this morning, and about 7 o'clock I wrote something up, and I didn't expect this. Thank you very much, committee, and also committee heads and everyone. Since I'm not much of a speaker, I'm probably going to read most of this. There are a lot of people to thank, and I can't possibly mention everyone here without forgetting someone. As I think here right now, I'm especially thinking of our steering committee, and I'm really thinking of them when I get this. I think I will eventually compare them to my first class when I was a teacher here in 1974. These people will remain very special and very vivid in my mind. Like my first teaching class, a few of these committee members will stand out. You all stand out, but a few of you will stand out even more. Two of these members, Laverne and Nancy Birch, have helped me a great deal, and without them my job would have been much more difficult. And our Centennial would not be what it was if it wasn't for them. I'm also thinking of all those behind-the-scenes people that made this Centennial happen. Our table and chair committee comes to mind right now, along with people like Bruce French, who would take over graciously and accept jobs in near-emergency situations. I'm also thinking of the women who spent 2.5 years writing our Centennial history book. One example of how our community pulled together was when we were putting up tents this week. I recruited 25 men to do this, and when the farmers got behind with their cultivating, I became a little concerned, so I recruited an extra 10 people. Would you believe all 35 men showed up to put up tents? We've had a parade committee who ran their parade like clockwork. Neil Borg told me a couple months ago that we're going to run this parade right on time, and I laughed. And he started right at 10:30. He and Fred Johnston and Royden Ruff and that whole committee. I also want to give special thanks to my wife, Anna, who never complained once about me going to all the meetings, and for her being patient when I became grumpy, nervous, and anxious. She made this job a lot easier. Thank you, honey. Well, I never really minded being the committee chairman because I feel I owe Cleghorn a great deal. This has been a town who took a risk and hired me as a first-year teacher. A bank who hired me without no previous banking experience. a community that has given my wife and daughter an excellent education, both scholastically and religiously. When I first came here in 1974, I can remember the warm welcome and acceptance that I received. Like all of you, this Centennial has been a time to look back, and probably you've become a little bit nostalgic. But now as this Centennial celebration is coming to a close, it's time to look ahead. The people in this community have proven that they can work together and accomplish big tasks. Cleghorn has a bright future, but it will take hard work, cooperation, creativity, and leadership. God has blessed this community the last 100 years. Dr. Adams Cleghorn started the town on Christian principles. I pray that the Lord will continue to bless us and that our Christian principles will continue to flourish. Again, people, I couldn't mention everybody up here. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, Marie, are you in charge?
No one is in charge.
No one's in charge.
It's a community effort and no one's in charge. That way no one can take the blame. If we have a question, we ask her. She can't answer it. There's major questions. You got the horses under control down there?
Yeah, he stayed up to the gate.
Is this when we take our three-wheeler and go around them?
Got any bar cars?
Is he holding on? There's some lane in the road down here. When Royden's friend counts Marlon Hodge, number 15.
I'm going to be up
Royden
north
is going to be in charge. We're going to say, oh, go talk to Royden. Just a minute.
That's the man you want to talk to.
I get Royden right